Okay, so now talk about this osmoregulations. Okay, osmoregulation basically, I mean, from the words, we know that osmo is something to do with the water potential. We want to regulate the water potential in the blood particularly. So osmoregulation is a control of the water potential of the body fluids, including the water molecules, including the body fluid, the plasma, okay, blood plasma, as well as the tissue fluids, okay. So this regulation are important, okay, involve three elements here, or three components. One is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus basically is the where the osmoreceptor and the control center located. Hypothalamus is where the osmoreceptor, okay, located. Then we do have the posterior pituitary gland, is where the effector so receive the output from the hypothalamus and secretes the hormones. Okay, secrete what hormones? It's called antidiuretic hormones. Okay, called ADH. Kidney is the one that actually receive the hormones from the pituitary glands and carry out the increase the reabsorption, okay, of the water molecule. So these three components you have to know. Okay, so the water potential of the blood is constantly monitored by specialized sensory neurons in the hypothalamus, known as the osmoreceptor. Okay? Known as osmoreceptor. So what will happen here is, now we do have this osmoreceptor, okay, somewhere here. So this osmoreceptor, they have the ability to detect the change in the water potential. So very quick one here. If this is the osmoreceptor, the cell, okay, this is the blood capillary. This is the osmoreceptor. So what will happen here is, if in the blood capillary, let's say we don't have sufficient water, so basically means that water potential is low. Okay, and then osmoreceptor, they are something like a nervous system cells, normal cells, so water potential is high, normal. Okay, not high, I mean normal. What will happen here is, because there is a steep water potential gradient, so water molecule move out by osmosis. So when the water molecule move out by osmosis, this will trigger the osmoreceptor, right? We're going to activate and trigger the osmoreceptor. Okay, so generally you can see that when these cells, okay, osmoreceptor detect a decrease in the water potential of the blood below a certain set point, the actual potential are sent along the neuron, where they are terminated. This neuron will all the way go to the posterior pituitary glands. Okay, posterior pituitary glands, where this will stimulate, highlight guys, a release. Now, student always confuse, okay, the glands here. The posterior pituitary gland is not the one that synthesizes ADH. Who synthesizes ADH? ADH is synthesized in the hypothalamus, the cell body at the hypothalamus. So this is the part where ADH is synthesized. Okay, be careful. ADH is synthesized at the cell body of the neurons, and they will be stored at the terminal of the neurons. Again, guys, students always confuse and make the wrong statement. ADH is produced at the cell body and travel along these neurons and stored at the terminal of the neurons, which located at the posterior pituitary glands. Okay, so means that when osmoreceptor here detect there is a change of the water potential, a decrease in the water potential, so actual potential will be transmitted all the way from the hypothalamus regions, all the way enter into the posterior pituitary glands until the end here, and it's going to trigger the release of the ADH hormones, ADH, not ADH hormone, ADH, okay, to be released into the blood capillary, and the molecule ADH enter the blood capillary and carry all over the body until it reaches kidney. Okay, so which part of kidney they respond to this? Which part of kidney? So highlight guys here, most important part is the collecting duct. Okay, most important part is the collecting duct. Okay, so don't say that, okay, posterior pituitary gland is the one that produce ADH. No, okay, it's a cell body of the neurons at the hypothalamus is the one that produce ADH. Okay, so what is the effect generally? So the general effect, the secretion of ADH has caused the increase of the reabsorption of water molecule into the blood. The volume of the urines now become smaller and the urine will be more concentrated. So low in volume, okay, so high in concentrations, okay, of the urine. Okay, so what is the major effect of the ADH? So if we want to increase the reabsorption, basically the limiting factor here is the number of the aquaporins. Aquaporins basically means that is the water channel. Okay, aquaporin actually is a water channel. So it's the one that actually we're going to help to transport the water molecule. It's a channel protein allow the water molecule to enter into the cells. So the limiting factor here, I say that is the aquaporin. So it means that if you want to continue to reabsorb back the water molecule or higher number of water molecule, then we need to have more aquaporins. So what will happen here is, you can see that this is a blood capillary, this is an endothelium. So these small protein hormones actually can cross this endothelium and bind to the receptor. The purple color here is the receptor, red color is the ADH. So when you bind to this receptor, okay, remember ADH receptor is also a kind of G protein couple receptor. So it means that what we learn in the glucagons and also the adrenalines, basically we can apply it here. So there is a change in the shape of the receptor, trigger the G protein. So G protein going to activate the adenylyl cyclase, which will convert, okay, the enzyme will catalyze the conversions of the ATP into the CAMP, and the CAMP is the second messenger. So this CAMP going to activate a series of the cascade activations processes, and this series of events will cause the vesicle. And this vesicle actually have what? This vesicle actually, they have the aquaporins. Can you see that they have aquaporins? So this vesicle, we're going to move towards the membrane that near to the lumens of this collecting ducts, okay? And then incorporate fuse and then add the, or incorporate these aquaporins onto the surface membrane. Okay, so allow more water molecule to be reabsorbed back. So this process is the effect of the ADH. So what is the effect of ADH? Basically, first they bind to the receptor. When they bind to receptor, it's going to change the shape. Okay, the three-dimensional shapes of the receptor. Then after that, we're going to cause the activation of the G protein, and the G proteins will activate, okay, the adenylyl cyclase. So it means that adenylyl cyclase can now convert the ATP to CAMP. The CAMP act as a second messenger, trigger the activations of the enzyme, the downstream enzyme, until it will cause the movements of the vesicle towards the cell membrane. So this cell membrane actually facing the lumens of the collecting duct. So then what happened? The membrane now fuse, okay, allow the incorporations of the aquaporin. So allow the water molecule to be reabsorbed back. Okay. So this is the answer. So generally, you can see that, okay, again, the number, okay, the number of the aquaporins here depends on the how much ADH bind. If more ADH bind, mean more vesicle can move and then increase even more. Are you clear? It depends on the ADH. Clear? So when there is an increase in the water potentials of the blood because of reabsorptions, so osmoreceptor in the hypothalamus no longer stimulated, cannot, okay, when increase the water potential already because we reabsorb back the water molecule, right? So it means the osmoreceptor now detect, okay, within the normal set point, so the neuron in the posterior pituitary gland stops secreting the ADH. So aquaporin now will be moved out from the cell surface membrane of the collecting duct back and stored in the cytoplasm. So means that you can see that when you stop the ADH, then what will happen? You can actually retract back the aquaporin, so make the collecting duct cells less permeable to the water molecule. So now we can produce a dilute and large volume of urines, okay? Flow down to ureter and then to the bladder. So in terms of summary here, you can see that when there is water level or water potential drop below the normal range, then hypothalamus create the feeling of the thirst, and hypothalamus also will stimulate the posterior pituitary gland to release ADH. When we absorb that water molecule, then water level in the blood remain constant, okay? So in this case, so water level increase or water potential increase above the normal range. What will happen here? Hypothalamus now detect the low solute concentration or high water potential, release less ADH or no ADH will be released. So kidney will reabsorb less water molecule. Therefore, you can remove the water molecule through our urine. Okay.